Greetings, and welcome to Today in Trek, our daily show about what has, is, and will happen in the world of Trek. It's January 8th, and our guest host is Captain Regroot aboard the Mogai Warbird, the IKS-000. Today's episode is brought to you, once again, by Bone Collector Coffee from Grounds and Hounds Coffee, where every cup saves a pup. You can check them out at groundsandhoundscoffee.com. By the way, if you've got a favorite coffee vendor that also contributes to the greater good, let me know and I'll give them a try and a shout out. On to Today in Trek. Birthdays first. Famed illustrator Boris Vallejo was born in 1941. Best recognized for his work depicting fantasy characters like Tarzan, Conan the Barbarian, and Doc Savage, Vallejo also illustrated a number of Star Trek covers, including Corona, Crisis on Centaurus, Demons, Dreadnought, Dwellers in the Crucible, Final Frontier, The Final Reflection, Enterprise, The First Adventure, Mind Shadow, My Enemy, My Ally, Phaser Fight, Strangers in the Sky, The Tears of the Singers, Time for Yesterday, The Vulcan Academy Murders, Web of the Romulans, The Wounded Sky, Star Trek The Wrath of Khan, and Yesterday's Sun. Stephen Hawking was born this day in 1942. Hawking was a world-renowned theoretical physicist, cosmologist, director of research of the Center for Theoretical Cosmology at the University of Cambridge, the Lucasian Professor of Mathematics at Cambridge, and author of the book A Brief History of Time. Trekkies were delighted to see him portray himself on the 6th season TNG episode Descent, where he played a game of poker on the holodeck with Isaac Newton, Albert Einstein, and Data. Legend has it that on a later visit to the TNG set, Hawking asked Brent Spiner where his winnings were for the poker match. Spiner replied that the check was in the mail. Hawking died in 2018 after a 55-year battle with amyotrophic lateral sclerosis. Stuntman Jeffrey Jensen was born in 1964. Jensen performed stunts for Star Trek II, The Search for Spock, Star Trek IV, The Undiscovered Country, and Star Trek Insurrection. Michelle Forbes was born on January 8, 1965. Ms. Forbes played Dara in the TNG episode Half a Life, but is better known as Ro Laren, who she played in 8 episodes of TNG before reprising her role in the 3rd season of Picard. After her appearances on TNG, she was asked to reprise the role in DS9, but turned down the invitation. The role was rewritten as Kira Nerys and played by Nana Visitor. Michelle Forbes was also offered the chance to act in Voyager, but again turned it down. DC comic book artist Rachel Ketchum was born in 1967. She worked on a number of projects for DC's TOS Volume 2 and DC's TNG Volume 2. Game designer Frank Arnott was born in 1980. He is credited as the lead designer in Bethesda Softworks' Star Trek Conquest game and was mission scriptwriter for the Star Trek Encounters game. Everyone's favorite Orion, aside from Tendi, Rachel Nichols was born in 1980. She played Gala in the 2009 reboot movie of Star Trek. In Trek series on this day, in 1990, the TNG episode The Hunted premiered. Written as a thinly veiled allegory to the way veterans were reintegrated into American society after returning from Vietnam, it focused on soldiers who had been augmented by chemical and psychological training in order to be better warriors by their government, but after returning home, found that no plans had been made to reverse the training, as they might be called upon to serve as soldiers again, if needed. As such, they were relegated to a moon of the home planet until one soldier, Roga Daner, escapes to the Enterprise. The episode features Academy Award nominee James Cromwell as Narok, one of 4 roles he played in different Trek series, along with an appearance as Mirror Zefram Cochrane in Enterprise, A Mirror Darkly, and Cochrane Hologram in Lower Decks Grounded. The DS9 episode Paradise Lost premiered in 1996. The second part of a 2-part story, it focused on the infiltration of changelings into Starfleet security. The episode was originally planned to be the beginning of the 4th season, but due to reasons, it, along with the first part, Homefront, were pushed to the middle of Season 4. In 1997, the Voyager episode Fair Trade premiered. A Neelix-focused episode, it was intended to help establish his character and change his changing roles and responsibility on the Voyager as they began to explore areas of space with which he wasn't familiar. DS9's episode Waltz premiered in 1998. Like several other Trek episodes, it revolves around two main characters, Sisko and Dukat in this case. Sisko has been severely injured and is trapped on a deserted planet with an increasingly unstable Dukat. As always, these stories allow the actors to display their incredible acting abilities, and this episode is excellent for this reason. And the fact that Rene Auberjonois directed it doesn't hurt either. The Enterprise episode Dawn premiered in 2003. In some ways, it's similar to the aforementioned Waltz, focusing in this case on Trip and an alien being trapped together on the moon of a gas giant. But here the concept is more enemy mine, with two potentially hostile beings, Tucker and Zokon, trying to survive rather than going through personal character development. Lots of Trek publishing happened on this day. IDW Publishing released issue 4 of Star Trek Con in 2014. And in 2019, the Discovery novel The Way to the Stars by Una McCormack was released. Star Trek Designing Ships Volume 2 by Ben Robinson and Marcus Riley was re-released. And Little Golden Books released 2 books. I Am Captain Kirk by Frank Berrios and I Am Mr. Spock by Elizabeth Schaefer. On a sadder note, color timer Phil Hatos passed away on this day in 2006. Tom Lay, a production illustrator for Wrath of Khan and The Search for Spock, died in 2013, along with Keeley Sims, who was in the Voyager episode Caretaker. Lloyd Buswell, a member of the art department for TNG, DS9, Voyager, and Star Trek IV, and a model maker for Generations, died in 2020. In 2021, comic book artist Steve Lytle passed away. Trek History of the Future. Star Trek Section 31 Countdown is going on still at 16 days away, and it will be on Paramount Plus in the US and in countries that utilize Paramount Plus. It's scheduled to debut on Sky Showtime markets in Europe on February 7th. As always, as we get more information about other international market releases, we'll let you know. If you know of something that we don't know, please drop us a message. Take care, everyone, and we'll see you tomorrow.